Okay, so we got an interesting situation here in this med, and he moved his Japan fleet up to Sea Zone 24, which that indicates to me, at least not for a while, he's not planning on coming and harassing the back door. He plans on harassing the Atlantic with them. So I'm going to need to be mindful of the fact that if he moves them to Sea Zone 13, two of these fighters could fly over and land there. So these are targeting Sea Zone 13 right now, and or as I'm planning on bringing my Americans in here, if I pull the UK out, he could close the door behind them with Japan fleet and get the Americans stuck inside the med between the two fleets here, potentially. Um, so I'm going to need an exit strategy in case I need to pull the UK out, like if he puts a Baltic fleet down, which is a possibility. I do have 3 fighters targeting Sea Zone 5. Um, or if he puts a destroyer blocker here. There's nothing I can do, but I got to pull out. Whatever. There's many reasons why. He builds more bombers, and I can't stay here, so I have to pull out. There's plenty of reasons why I may have to pull the UK out next turn and leave the US sitting there. Now the US sitting there will be able to move before the German fleet, but again, the Japan fleet is going to be able to sneak in behind us. Now the 2 fighters flying over isn't a threat. Um, but the or even 3 fighters potentially isn't so much of a threat as much as him putting the fleet behind me is. So I am going to build a couple subs so that I could, if need be, hit the Japan fleet at negative IPC, unfortunately, do a 1 round strafe, and then retreat back to Sea Zone 12. So I'd be able to pull these guys back to Sea Zone 12 and then let UK come in and finish off the Japan fleet based on what they're doing over here. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is I want to be able to get enough pressure to make him have to. If he wants to keep his med fleet, he's going to have to build um, units. So the very minimum, I want to make him have to build at least the 2 fighters and a destroyer block here, which I could hit with the UK and then have my US ready to go. Um, and they'd be 50-50 if he built 2 fighters, battleship carrier, because I'm going to put a fighter here. There's going to be a fighter on board, and then these 4 units sitting there. I was thinking about having 1 destroyer come up here in case I have to do that hit and retreat, that I could retreat back into here, but I really need that destroyer. I really need this fighter to put as much pressure on Sea Zone 16 as I can. And make him, the more I'm making him spend here, the less he's spending on ground units and bombers. So that's what I'm going to play for. Um, he did buy 2 bombers as expected. He did kill the transport as we expected, and then he moved into these 2. He took the Persia for free and killed my UK guy that I'd moved up there. So my attempt at limiting the Japan income from those is not going to happen, or the Japan build there isn't going to happen. I was hoping that he'd want to take that for the income for Germany, give Germany a little bit more bias, but this just means it's going to be more of a split German-Japan income. So kind of good for me, but also kind of bad because he'll be able to put a Japan factory up here. Let's see. Yeah, so here we go. So I want to focus on getting this built up as much as possible. Unfortunately, I can't maximize efficiency 100% this turn because of my need to build some subs over here. If it wasn't for the subs, I would be in good shape. But I'm going to have to build the subs. He does have, and I almost goofed here, he does have the 1-2 punch of 2 bombers, 5 bombers, because these guys can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then of course the 5 Japan bombers. So I was just playing on the Japan bombers and almost forgot about these guys. Now the fighters, I'm okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got no carrier over here to land on, so okay against the fighters. But I gotta prepare for 2 bomber, 5 bomber hit, which basically means I need to have 1 carrier or 1 fighter with my group. It's a little thinner than I necessarily would like, and after watching him take the shots that he's taken, I'm a little bit concerned there. You know what? I want to relook at what the odds on that was real quick here, because it just it does have me a little bit a little bit concerned that I may need to just even back off. I really want to get the infantry loading up, but it's not going to matter if all my transports are sitting at the bottom of the ocean. Let's see. So he would be hitting 2 bombers first, 5 bombers second, and we're talking about having a fighter, a battleship, a carrier, a cruiser, and a couple destroyers. So that gives me a 57%. It gives him a 33% shot. Basically, he has a 33% shot at wiping my fleet. This game is so neck and neck close. I think I gotta give him that. Even though I'm gonna have 4 transports sitting there. Um, I don't generally like to give that good of odds with 4 transports sitting there. But he'll lose most of his bombers, and I'll be rebuilding. It's a 33% shot at a negative 25 IPC value. Throw in the 4 transports, it's a basically IPC even shot for him, right? But I gotta play how I normally play, even though he's shown me that he very well may take that shot. Um, if I start playing too conservative and building extra boats first, that's gonna hurt me as well. So I gotta play the odds. So here we go. So we're gonna do 7 infantry, 1 tank. I'm gonna be moving 4 of the infantry off, so that's gonna leave 1 on the islands. That's gonna give me 7 infantry, so I'm gonna have 8 infantry on the islands. I'm building a transport in Sea Zone 36 with my 3 other transports. 4 transports to pick up the 8 guys. Actually, the 1 transport I can build in here so that I can have a manned on land already. Because he can't hit here. And that also being here allows me a chance to have an extra guy that transport that could come over to Sea Zone 34 if I wanted to. So anyways, we are building 1 transport. We're building 2 subs for Eastern U.S. And yes, this is a point where a lot of times I'm not a subs in the Atlantic kind of guy, but we got to get as much balance as we can, and I really want to have surface ships for the bomber builds, but I need to be able to threaten into the med for these guys and these Japan guys, and if these Japan guys go this way, then the subs can just go that way too. The 1 transport, and then I also am building a fighter for coming in here as well. So there's a lot to think about in this turn. I'm going to try, by the way, to remember to do a attack power or war report update, because I know folks like to see that. I don't think I have any attacks to do. No? I could do that 5 attack there, but that's not enough. Even against those 3, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. We could go in there. We're not going to, though. Had I been thinking, I could have gone for Corellia, and then I forgot. Again, we had the VC capabilities. not now. I can only get 2 of them. I need 3. I'd need Corellia to do that. And of course, if I took Corellia, that would have alerted him to his Japan to defend. And I really didn't want him having 5 bombers, 3 fighters there because I didn't have enough to defend 36 in, so all good. But yeah, I hate not attacking anything, but I just don't see anything for me to attack. I mean, I could go backwards to, but I can't get back to where I want my fighter in India so that we can potentially attack into there. Yep, alright, well, nothing to attack. So I have enough fleet here to dead zone the sea zone, so if he lets me potentially sneak the subs in here, that could be a possibility. Although I think he could transport to sea zone 17 and build a defense block, but then I could kill his defense destroyer block and he has no fighters, so then I'd be able to kill them. So yeah, Suez might be open. So I think I'm gonna pull them on back here, just in case I can sneak through the Suez. All right, I believe that's it. All right, nothing else to move. These guys are gonna hang tight with me. I mean, I guess I can move these guys, press these guys on up, right? I can always. I'm presuming he's not attack there, but that helps me in case he does something coming down this way. Does a stack here. I can at least attack the land. And I got my transports that'll pull out what I want, so might as well move them on up. Alright. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't land anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. So safe from bombers. So we're going to put our transport there. We need to make sure we put a fighter there. We'll put a tank in there. Although, I will say putting the tank there does give him kind of a profile battle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That he could just strike that with all his bombers. This will be a good test to see if he's the type of guy that's going to do that. So he needs 2 for him. 3 for him. I'll give him 4. 2 to pick off from here. That gives me the 4 transports. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Alright. I'm going to pause. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my spreadsheet, and I'll pull that up in 2 seconds. Well, it'll be a split second for you guys. So here comes my version. Again, I didn't filter it out to make it look easier, but looking at a round by round total unit count, I now have a 4 unit account lead on him, and that's going to come important with what I'm going to talk about in just a minute. IPC value of the units, I've gained 8 from the beginning. Attack power, I've got 1 on him. Defense power, 17 on him. Now you're going to see this is different than what the game calculates, because I'm going to show you the game one too, I believe, or most likely different what the game calculates. One of those reasons because how I do my artillery counts. But anyways, and then my attack strength, total defense strength values here. So, you know, the big shift from where I had a growing advantage to all of a sudden him having an advantage, and then all of a sudden him having great IPC value was my UKC that battle getting diced, and then my Japan hitting the US61 fleet at very positive dice, and then of course it flips back to my value with his getting diced with Germany attacking Moscow. So here's where all that dice comes in. All in all, you know, you look at where we were to where we are, he got the better end of the value of it, but nonetheless, I feel pretty decent about where I'm sitting right now. Looking at specifically, again, of course I have the strong Navy. He's got the strength in Air Force and Army though by a little bit. The Army's small though. Notice the Army force is small. His advantage, 5 units, basically. And again, I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. This is a little more concern, of course, is the Air Force strength, because this is going to become very big. As he starts building more and more bombers, he's going to be getting more and more attack power here. And this is something that we got to keep an eye on. And I got to keep roughly equivalent defensive strength advantage in the Navy versus his Air Force. The other way, more traditional, we'll pop up the good old war report. So this actually shows us exactly even on attack power. I had my 1 off. Again, I think that's just because of how I do artillery counts. But notice we're in the late game now, right? He's got Moscow, I've got the Money Islands established, and we're even attack power. This is with his bonus 8 from taking Russia, so really it's a 49 if we're looking at just what his income is. So he's got 49 and 34. So he's bringing in 83 income, and I'm bringing in 100 and whatever, 103 income. So I've got the income advantage going on here right now on an even attack power, and even more so, even with this even attack power and his 5 unit advantage in the ground war, we got to remember he's got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 Japan infantry that are not in this game. In essence, they're not going to be getting into this game. They're not going to be fighting anywhere. They're not going to be doing anything. I've got my 1 US that's probably going to sit out there, and 4 UK, but that's a 16 unit bias that those reports are showing, because I don't really care about Tokyo. It's not even my goal. If it happens, it's rare and it's not my target. So that's a 16 attack power swing and unit count swing, which means in the important areas I've got advantages, and so that's what I'm going to be leaning on. I've got Army advantage as well as income advantage. Now I just got to be really careful with how I manage my fleets versus his navies. This is where it's going to get interesting. I've never faced this situation, to be honest, in the Mediterranean. This may have been a huge mistake. This may have been a blunder. We'll figure it out. So, fun game. Hope y'all are enjoying, and stay tuned.